There is perhaps no more fascinating study than that of the human figure. Its adaptation to the many and diverse forms of art makes the subject one of universal appeal. The achievements of Sorolla in the art of painting, drawing, and composition lead one to the conclusion that the representation of the human figure ranks among the highest forms of expression of which he is master. There are times when an artist embarks on a journey of exploration and honing skills through diligent practice, and moments when the artist's intellect and skill begin to seamlessly merge with the spirit of nature, unlocking a profound capacity to perceive with unparalleled freshness the essence of nature, a state achieved only through unwavering persistence and audacious fearlessness. From the grace and beauty of the figures from Greek vases, the power and strength of Michelangelo, the grace and fire of Raphael, and the sensitive line of Holbein, have come a wealth of artistic material and inspiration. The continuous teaching of the human figure has proved to be among the most difficult of art subjects. Early training and devotion to the human figure can be taught only from the living model, and no amount of book knowledge can make up for the loss of practice from life. Sorolla was from the beginning an avid practitioner of drawing and the ability to understand form in all its many variations. There are artists who draw by instinct, and others who acquire knowledge and the capacity to draw after intensive study. However, there are comparatively few outstanding figure draftsmen compared with those in other branches of art. This suggests that the subject is a very exacting one and requires long and continuous study. One of the key aspects of Sorolla's work is the ability to capture nature. In the beginning, we find his talent was more than adequate and precocious, but the pictures were of the dry brownish school as he was taught. Still, they were very well done. You are immediately seeing life come across the canvas. His combination of brushwork and the general effect coalesces the vibrancy of a tree, for example. The flow of pigment allows the interpretation to be lively, not merely recorded as a fact of rendered accuracy. The sway of the facts being recorded has life. There is no slavishly gathering each small part, but rather synthesizing the character of what is there. Sorolla was a planner and arranger, and one of the chief points considered in all of these paintings is the extent to which anatomy should be felt. Whilst it is true that the structure of the human figure is dependent on a knowledge and an application of anatomy, it is also true that the subject can be somewhat overdone and has tended to exclude the more spontaneous efforts of painters. The history of art shows that some of the great artists possessed a consummate knowledge of anatomy, and along with that an understanding of the general flow of movement that underscores the thing rendered. We find in the compositions he painted that he is ever aware of the incidental happenings that are ever present. They are narratives, but more than that, they possess a rich understanding of brilliant light and subtle shadows permeating what is there before him. For the painter, this great understanding of the importance of a fluid effect is vital and not simply matter-of-fact recorded nature. Sorolla's skill in describing the deep, rich shadows is particularly remarkable. It demonstrates his growing understanding of how he must find a solution to the deeper tones and spotting of peeping lights, which is particularly difficult when the figure is involved. He conquered the problem with the juxtapositioning of the delicate factors of moving parts with pigment that he stated he could not render if he painted slowly. It demonstrates how instincts begin to take over when careful training is second nature. This comes about almost without too much thought or hesitation. Then we have the drenched in light effects, something Sorolla was able to grasp quite well. The close tonal harmony with a few choice accents makes the pictures seem alive, and again his superb drawing skills are effortlessly in place. I say effortlessly, but we know the real truth. Their harmonious grey and beige tones work together and intermingle with great precision. The themes are very quaint, but not sappy, as may otherwise be the case if not for his lost and found deliberations. Each canvas has a cover story, but it never gets in the way. Few painters, says a Spanish critic, have hitherto expressed with such convincing power the effects of sunlight falling on our gardens or our towers, or on the scutcheons and the window gratings of our ancient palaces. Not only did his work possess charm and power of design, but it possessed also an unusual grasp of the fundamental points of action, combined with technical skill. The secret of learning to place the figure in action was revealed in how he allowed his models to walk about, and insisted on his models hold a pose seizing upon some characteristic gesture and memorizing the same. It may also be said of Sorolla that he followed the same method each time at the beaches. His quick sketches show how clearly he caught the essentials of movement, and how, by a few direct strokes of the brush, he was able to convey a sense of completeness. The rapid sketches in many of his canvases show that he possessed a penetrating insight into human character as well. It would appear that the fundamentals of structure may be understood and felt without making the painting look like an anatomical chart or an exaggeration of muscular action. Many of our observances of his canvases show just how deeply he studied his world and the things unveiled by light. As we move to the other aspect of Sorolla's interests, namely the boaters and the heroic actions of men and oxen and carts in strong tides, the artist is more immediately concerned with the external and immediate. He views nature as colour, tone, texture, and light and shade. He requires a profound knowledge of the basic qualities of structure, action, and character. When he considers the infinite variety of action, transitory movements, changes in light and shade, and subtlety of form and colour, the average painter would faint at the prospect of such an effort. It is natural that, in eagerness to arrive at the finality of a subject, Sorolla needed to paint with a very quick but deliberate brush. As can be seen, his variety of subjects and ability to find new ways to compose. It goes without saying he was relentless. Although he could paint the lovely little urchins and handsome children at play on the beaches, he was also interested in the more sober and serious types of characters. One of his most famous and tragic canvases was a large picture of cripples on the beach to enjoy and wash. The priest is assisting their efforts to walk with encouragement to keep trying. It is a canvas that he said he could not repeat. It is sombre, yet his treatment in paint is marvellous and rendered with great tonal delicacy. His work embraces every class of subject, portraiture and genre, pure landscape, earlier renderings of biblical history, popular and rustic scenes, with or without a landscape setting, studies, and sketches in the extemporaneous mood, uniting form with colour. Some note in him, as Pedro de Madrazo has declared, the realism of Velázquez, the fantasy of Hogarth, the energy of Rembrandt, the delicacy of Titian, and power of Veronese. Unmoved to create imaginative pictures of the future or the past, he viewed life about him with realistic, robust regard, focusing his undistracted vision on the present only. His art, while yet conspicuously original, reveals throughout the influence of Velázquez. For though he did not imitate that mighty realist, he learned from him to look at nature with a clear, direct, truth-seeking eye. His love of brilliant colours, finely juxtaposed or woven with consummate taste, seems to have been suggested by an impressionist, but he did not identify with them. He was his own man, very much of the naturalist school, and his admiration for Bastien Lepage is still noticeable, yet altogether new. We hope you enjoyed this brief look at one of the greatest colourists in history, and a look into the inner workings as best we know them. His tireless work ethic is truly inspiring, as he himself commented, "He could not work at all if he could not paint quickly." But we know all too well he did so with all the dedication of his great eye to interpret nature, permitting us a view into his wonderful world. So with that, we hope you enjoyed this very brief look at Sorolla's work and his powerful full arsenal of gifts to record nature. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do. And as a final word, our new ebook collection link is below. We post new editions regularly, meant to inspire and encourage your studio practice, and to get you better acquainted with the masters who faced the same challenges and how they overcame them. So just click the link below, and thank you.